Hey, Hazmat Reviews here, and today it's I'm reviewing WandaVision. Seems like a long time coming. But a lot of you are wondering why didn't I do something like what I did with my Game of Thrones season 8 videos did back in 2019. Well, I just figured it was a bit hard. Well, it was an option, but I figured maybe not. And I feel like it's probably still the best option when it comes to something like this. As um, well, when I watched the first few episodes, it just didn't really feel like someone could do something like that, an analysis of everything. Besides, a lot of people do that, and yeah. But anyway, WandaVision, the first of Marvel's the MCU Disney Plus shows, and the official first installment of Phase 4. I mean, with everything that happened due to COVID, they had to reshuffle the schedule. Makes my old predictions here from way back in 2019 outdated, like here. Not just because of pandemic, but also with the lost Chadwick Boseman. That also probably makes it a bit outdated as well. But it's very But going into this, I was very unsure about this. I didn't know if a Marvel show could work. I mean, look, for what it is, the shows they've done before weren't weren't part of the canon of the films. I mean, Endgame sort of brought in one of the actors from the Agent Carter series, but that was about it. And yeah, the shows reference the movies, but the movies didn't reference the shows. Now this show's canon, and so it was. I had to take a look at it. I had to install Disney Plus to do this, but is it worth it? Well, it ended up being a pleasant surprise, and for everyone, everyone got invested right from the start. Though some people were divided a bit at the. Never mind. Let's get on. Taking place 3 weeks. Yep, okay, that's right. 3 weeks after the events of Avengers Endgame, Wanda Maximoff and Vision, played again by Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, just have pretty much retired and have moved to the suburb of Westview, New Jersey, to start their ideal suburban life. They're now married. They are pretty much trying to integrate themselves into the community of Westview without anyone noticing their powers. But as they continue, they start to settle in, make friends, and have kids. Of course, being Billy and Tommy Maximoff, being of course Wiccan and Speed from the Young Avengers and from the comics. But over time, as they start to encounter different tropes from different film eras that seen through TV sitcoms, you start to realize that something isn't right. As it turns out, they're not the only ones who pick up on it, as well. While they don't really care so much, specifically Wanda, the outside Westview does, in the form of Sword, an intergalactic equivalent shield that monitors extraterrestrial activities or other stuff. Remember Monica Rambeau, who you met through Captain Marvel, is sent on a mission to figure out what's been going on at Westview, along with the help of FBI agent from Ant-Man and the Wasp, Agent Wu, played by Randall Park, and close friend of Thor's and astroscientist from the first 4 movies, Kat Dennings' Darcy Lewis. Monica Rambeau is played by Tiana Paris this time, replacing Kiri Akbar. So, let's start off with what works. The premise, which is absolutely original. I mean, we've seen stuff like this that sort of satires within Marvel of different tropes, but to have a show that's directly satirizing different stuff from the different shows from many different decades is pretty unique, and they do a pretty good job. I mean, you can tell what they're satirizing. I mean, for the 50s, they're satirizing the Dick Van Dyke Show. Through the 60s, you've got Bewitched. The 70s, it's the Brady Bunch. For the 80s, it's Family Ties. For the 90s, it's Malcolm in the Middle, and through the 2000s, you've got Modern Family. You know what they're going to satirize. They're the most ideal shows for them during those periods. And they do a good job of, of capturing the essence of what made those shows so good by adding their own twist to it. And I think they have a great crew that worked on it, who loved this stuff, loved the Marvel characters, loved those shows, and made them really integral and made them really work well in every sort of way. I mean, they had a live studio audience, and the effects they used were stuff you would see from those decades. That's pretty good. The theme songs done by the same guys who wrote the songs for Frozen are also pretty good too. But I also am a big fan of that villain song. I'm gonna bring that up later. As I said, the premise is great, and the characters are great. Specifically, the 6 main ones. This show really sort of brings, it's basically a way for Wanda to become officially the Scarlet Witch, and you sympathize a lot with her as the show goes on, between what is going on and what isn't, what is real and what isn't, and how this is sort of going into how she just wants ideally her ideal Vision. Specifically with Vision. Now there's something wrong with this from the very beginning. Vision died in Infinity War and was not brought back for Endgame. So how is he alive? And you wonder that, but you still enjoy Paul Bettany's performance, and he does a really good job. As I said, the other 3 returning major characters are back, do well. Randall Park is given a lot more than what he had in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and is actually a lot more supportive. Not quite viewed on the side as saying, okay, he is a lot more open to making friends a bit more. And yeah, Monica Rambeau, Teyonah Parris is great as Monica Rambeau, and she does a really good job, especially as she finally gets her powers that they teased a bit of in Captain Marvel for the line Nick Fury said, but it's great to finally see her powers. And Darcy Lewis. Look, I think many people agree, not just from, what the Nostalgia Critic, Doug Walker said during his fall movie review, specifically for The Dark World. Kat Dennings was not really the best actress in the MCU movies. And after years of being away, I don't think anyone would, I'm not sure if many people were asking for her to return. Well, guess what? Her performance is perfect. They have some of her quirks from the fall movies, but boy, is she funny. She's a lot more funnier. She's understandable. She's quick. She's humorous. She actually does things. She doesn't get on your nerves, and she's on the screen for the right amount of time. That's how you improve a character. Well done, creators. Well done. And then, of course, you have one thing that would be a bit bothersome is the villain. You don't know who exactly is the main villain. You would think, because of what her involvement is in this whole anomaly around Westview, Wanda is the villain, and in some respects she is. But then you have Monica's boss at Sword, who has his own ulterior motives involving Vision. What, is he the main villain? Probably is. But in a way, you don't have to care about that about the whole dynamic between those two when you have Catherine Hahn as Agatha Harkness. Oh, is she fun to watch. She is, even before they reveal her as Agatha Harkness, she is funny, and and entertaining. And if only you've got that theme song, oh gosh, did that became a meme? So what? And then of course, I think by far my favorite episode of this is definitely episode 8, where they explore Wanda's backstory. Not only is it perfect, and it's a great episode, probably one of the best I've. It's gonna be hard to top for other Marvel shows, in my opinion. Well, okay, they probably can do it, but for now, it's the best episode. I think it'll be a while. I'll be watching these other shows and seeing if they can top episode 8 of WandaVision. But is there problems? Well, yeah. I said episode 8 was great. The second last episode, episode 8 was great. The last episode, episode 9, is okay. Look, it's fine, but there was a lot of expectation that fans had for this final episode, and in some respects it delivered. Seeing Wanda finally become the Scarlet Witch was great. I guess since seeing Billy and Timmy use their abilities is pretty cool. The ending with Wanda saying goodbye between Wanda and her family is really nice. And yeah, some stuff. I mean, seeing a bit of Monica's powers is great too, but we did see a bit of it before, but they'll probably delve more into it in the future. But the fact is, they had so many characters to work with, and you don't really get much. Even Agatha's powers, I mean, I don't know, it's alright, but a bit underwhelming. I mean, Darcy just takes out the sword boss, but only in a pathetic car crash. Jimmy Woo just calls in the FBI, and that's about it. He doesn't show up till at the end where he speaks with Monica. Yeah, and the whole Vision thing, I mean, it's hard to know whether Vision will return after this show. I mean, there is hints at what happens between Vision's conflict, but you don't really know. And as I said, it's just that whole climax. It could have been a lot grander, but we didn't get that much as what we wanted. I think it also, and then of course, I mean, and I feel like they just threw in stuff like, oh, we got to tie into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Captain Marvel 2, because this will tie into those two films. Well, yeah, I mean, we know Wanda's going to be in Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness, and Monica's going to be in Captain Marvel 2. We know that. But the problem is how they integrate those connections leading into the films. I mean, we see Wanda enter in an astral form. She's never learned that. Because she's never even met Doctor Strange. They might have had a brief few moments of seeing each other in Endgame, but you don't get much. Closest you could say is in a deleted scene, but that's just a deleted scene. And then you get to and the connection with Captain Marvel 2. I mean, spoiler alert, but it seems pretty obvious. A Skrull actually shows up to tell Monica that a friend of her mother's, friend of her family, wants to speak with her. You would think it could be Nick Fury. Then you might think it could be Talos. Then it could be, Captain Marvel herself. I mean, how on earth did they know it was time to go in? I mean, I doubt, especially since I doubt Nick Fury or Carol Danvers or Talos knows what happened to Maria Rambeau, Monica's mother, who actually apparently, for the show, died in between the 5 years of the snap and the blip. So during Infinity War and Endgame, the whole snap thing, yeah. it just felt a bit rushed on how to integrate how this is going to connect to those movies. And then of course you have the change of this release schedule. I mean, look, obviously it with COVID and everything, it was going to the release schedule of Marvel's Phase 4 had to change. And for this, it's both a plus and a negative. It's a plus because originally this was only going to have 6 episodes. We got 9, which helped. Because I don't think you could have crammed in everything of this series into just 6 episodes. We saw what happened with, of course, Game of Thrones Season 8. But then I feel like this was meant to be after. I mean, look, I love this show and I love they entered bold territory, but because they entered bold territory, you know, maybe this was meant to be a bit of a, you know, I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which just got released, is basically what you would think of traditional Marvel, but with a bit of new stuff in between. But alright, actually no, screw that part. But what I'm saying is the change in the release schedule. I think this was meant to be, you know, in the middle of Phase 4, but obviously it had to be moved around because it was the first one to get finished, and it was easier to show. I get that, but I don't know. It just kind of feels like this was meant to be, you know, the fourth main the original. Where it was originally meant to be released was, you know, being, say, the fourth in the phase. It kind of feels that way. So yeah, but for what it is, WandaVision is great. Definitely is a great show to watch, and for Marvel fans, definitely get your teeth into it. I would say you probably already would have watched it. I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier has just been released. You can't really just start with that. You got to start with this now. But would I watch it again? Not at this particular time frame. I mean, I've got a lot on, so it's hard for me to binge watch a show all the way through. I much rather, and even as I said, episode 8 is my favorite. I don't even know if I want to watch that on its own, because this show doesn't feel that way. It's not like something like Game of Thrones or The Simpsons, where I could just pick an episode. Well, shall I say just Game of Thrones, where I could just pick an episode and watch it because, yeah, I know the story and it's all fine by me. I don't have to watch the other episodes, so I just pick the ones I want to watch. I will eventually watch it again, but that's going to be when maybe at the end of Phase 4, when I marathon the MCU movies again. I think my opinions of not binge watching this again, just watching it once, is going to apply to the other shows, with maybe the exception of What If, but I won't know until I get there. But for what it is, I have my doubts, but it ended up being a good time. It's a 9 out of 10 has stars for me. Well done, Marvel. You got me. You did well in your first outing in television. Let's see how well you continue on with the rest. And also keep on up with your movies. So, as I said, so what's next? Well, yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier's just been released, first episode's out, but I'm not going to do that right away. I'm going to wait till the end, just like I did with this. I will, of course, review Black Widow when that comes out in theaters, but my next review will be Raya and the Last Dragon. But in the meantime, House of Mouse is out, and I'll catch you later for, well, Raya and the Last Dragon. Ciao.